I reviewed this movie in the first year of the channel, but like many of those early reviews, it's no longer up. Partly because those early reviews kinda sucked, and partly because I wasn't very good about editing out the spicy stuff, and YouTube was none too happy about that.
Dirty.
Well, in the time between that old review and now, the movie has finally gotten a Blu-ray release, so it's worth another look. Plus, since this is the only feature film that legendary 70s model Roberta Pedon appeared in, it's maybe worth 2 big looks. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at Delinquent Schoolgirls from 1975. I'm going to do something a little bit different this week. After the review portion of the video, I'm going to talk about this Blu-ray DVD combo, which came out last year. This here is the first of the new Psychotronica Collection from VCI and MVD. If you want to skip to that part of the video, you can go to this time code here. And a little bit of a spoiler, this release kinda sucks, and VCI Entertainment and the MVD Entertainment Group should be ashamed of themselves. But the movie doesn't suck. Let's check it out. We open at an asylum for the criminally insane. A patient is getting some therapy. I like these anatomical drawings doing dance moves. And how the power goes over 100%. And then a fight breaks out. The doc takes him back to his room, his cellmates think he's out, but no, it was all a ruse, and he's got some sort of tool. Part 1 of the escape plan? Check. Over at the Oxford Corrective Institute for Young Women, it's a high-quality sign right there. The principal informs the girls that some of the worst girls won't be allowed to leave the campus. Bad girls on campus. That would have also been a pretty good title for this movie. That principal, by the way, is played by John Alderman. He was last on the channel in the Lee Frost Ruffy, The Animal. He had an interesting career, appearing in Hollywood stuff like Escape from Planet of the Apes, and tons of grindhouse and drive-in classics like Drive-In Massacre and The Pink Angels. Oh hey, there she is, Roberta Pedon, one of the most beautiful models to ever grace the pages of a nudie mag. For decades, there were all sorts of rumors about her and her early demise, but then she showed up alive and well on Italian TV a few years ago. I was pretty happy that none of those rumors turned out to be true. Oh, and that's Colleen Brennan. She's been on the channel loads of times. Loads. So, as a kind of revenge for their punishment, the girls make a plan to anger the principal.
What have you got planned, Greta? Simple, Penny. We're not going to wear our bras to class today.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that is supposed to anger the principal. I guess it's maybe to represent how they don't want to be contained. One thing is for certain, Roberta Pedon cannot be contained. Naturally, hugely naturally, that's nothing you can see here on YouTube.
Man, I just work here.
But of course, we don't have to stay here. Support the channel on Patreon and get access to uncensored, spicy versions of my reviews. Link is in the description. Back with our inmates, we learn a bit more about what they're all about. Richard Peters, love the name, has been without a woman's touch for quite some time, and that's all he thinks about. So I'm not sure why he's in an insane asylum. That's totally normal. He's played by Bob Miner, a bodybuilder and stuntman. He had a full and interesting career. He was in some Russ Meyer films, worked with Jack Hill on Coffee and Foxy Brown, and was the first black man in the Stuntmen's Association, later becoming vice president. The other patients are character actor Michael Pataki, playing Carl Clooney. Here, he's a failed comic who does absolutely terrible impressions throughout the film. And the third is Steven Stucker as Bruce Wilson, a flamboyantly gay fashion designer. This is his first role, and a few years later he'll go on to be in Kentucky Fried Movie and Airplane, the role he's probably most famous for. We don't see the escape, we hear about it on the radio of this hen-pecked farmer. Oh, check it out, that's George Buck Flower. You might know him as the bum in Back to the Future, or the bum-turned-traitor in They Live. But if you're me, he will always be the leprous beggar who manhandles Diane Thorne in Ilsa, harem keeper of the oil sheiks. Anyway, here his wife is desperate for attention, and he's a terrible husband as far as laying that husband pipe is concerned.
And your hands are really soft, and I'm sorry I got off. You're holding all my love in the palm of your hand.
I love how the lyrics of this song inform the story. Because the farmer leaves his wife unsatisfied when our 3 inmates show up, Big Richard gives the wife some Big Richard, and she likes it. Now, this might sound like something out of a horror film, but it's all played for laughs. The kind of laughs which are pretty rare these days. A home invasion would make anyone hungry, so the 3 set off in search for food, which leads them to the campus, and while they're there, they'll cross paths with some girls in the kitchen, a teacher who hypnotizes students with a stuffed eagle so that he can, well, you know. They also run across some girls smoking grass at the pool and some girls playing badminton, who they force to then mud wrestle. Finally, they run across some girls in the middle of karate lessons. And that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. Well, the movie is in the absolute worst of taste, and I love that about it. It is so sleazy. 3 escaped inmates find their way to an all-girls school populated by tons of hotties and proceed to, well, you know, every time they run across a new set of them, and brother, those sets are amazing. And what I like about all of this is the tone. On paper, this sounds like some highly offensive trash, but it's not, because it's all played for laughs. The kinds of laughs that have all but disappeared from modern films. Granted, some people might still find it offensive, but I always think about Robert Downey Sr. in this regard.
I mean, you can't take this seriously. If you do, you're a nitwit, you know?
So if you're willing to not take it seriously, the film will deliver 3 funny inmates with hot girls in school uniforms, hot girls in white swimsuits, hot girls doing jumping jacks, hot girls doing karate, and super hot girls mud wrestling. You are in for a treat. But I still wouldn't say the movie is perfect. Like a schoolgirl lost in an eagle's eyes, it has some shortcomings. Well, for what the movie is, there's not much I don't like. But, as wild as this will sound, I think the film would have greatly benefited from some more skin. Sure, there's a lot, but there could have been more.
Okay, girls, that's it for today. Hit the showers.
Yeah, well, that would have been nice, but that was just a tease because there was no shower scene. And what a missed opportunity that was. Can you imagine Roberta Pedon and Colleen Brennan in a shower together? The mind races and the pants flutter with the possibilities. Alright, let's talk about this Blu-ray DVD combo release from VCI and MVD. First off, the good. One of my complaints with the old DVD was that the print was pretty dark and muddy at times. The external nighttime scenes were particularly bad in this regard. This release does improve those scenes, and considering one of those scenes is Roberta Pedon fighting in the mud, the improvement was very much welcomed. Some of the internal scenes are improved as well, and I appreciated the extra detail that the scan gave us. Unfortunately, that's where the good ends. First off, a stupid mistake. If you look at the setup menu of this release, you'll see it says there's a commentary track with director Jack Hill. Jack Hill didn't direct this, and he's not on the commentary. The commentary track is with Bob Miner and Elijah Drenner. So what happened? Well, Jack Hill does have a commentary track on the second Psychotronica release, Mondo Keyhole. It looks like they forgot to update their template. That's just lazy, and pretty disrespectful to Bob Miner. It gets worse. The other special feature is a featurette for what the Psychotronica releases will be all about. It's not very good, and here's why. The credits of that featurette tell us it was scripted by ChatGPT. That is just shameful. They couldn't even be bothered to write their own copy for the advertisement for their series? Pathetic. And honestly, as a writer, pretty insulting. And to add more insult to injury, the featurette extols the virtues of those indie filmmakers of days gone by who just picked up a camera and made some art. This company obviously isn't interested in supporting artists at all, since they would rather use AI tools that steal from artists instead of paying a writer to do their trailer. They didn't even pay a real voice actor. You VCI Entertainment. It gets worse. Back to the film, many of the scenes are overexposed, and that's a mistake that any competent film restorers would not have made. I don't want to get into a bunch of technical details about histograms and exposure and how it differs from brightness, so I'll just say this. When an image is overexposed, we lose details in the highlights, the brighter sections of the image. Too much of the image gets shifted into pure white, and we can no longer see what's what. Take this as an example. This is from the old DVD. We've got George Flower in a white hat in front of a white wall. Notice that you can still see the outline of his hat. There is detail in the image. And here's the same scene from the new Blu-ray. The hat and the wall have both shifted into pure white. The detail is gone, and we can't see where the hat ends and the wall begins. Since the detail is there in the older release, it means it was also there in the print, which means somebody messed up this release badly. Pure incompetence. And one of the scenes ruined by this overexposure is of Roberta Pedon doing jumping jacks. What a loss. It gets worse. At numerous points throughout the film, there are weird, blobby artifacts in the image, particularly when there's a lot of movement on the screen. Take this short scene of Colleen Brennan tossing Bob Miner. What was that? Pulling out some frames, we get a better idea of what's going on. Now, I'm not an expert in these things, but I did work as a projectionist back in the days when films were on film, and these artifacts are not film damage. Notice how the wall color covers up Bob's leg? Yeah, that's some digital manipulation, and my guess is they use some sort of AI tool to enhance the film. And as we can see, that tool sucks. They've ruined the image. A company that cares about these films would not have done that. As a point of comparison, here's what the old release looks like. I did my best to pull out the same frames, but since I'm working with digital copies and not actual film, that was difficult. But as we can see, there are no weird digital blobs here, just normal action blur caused by shooting film at 24 frames a second. This new Blu-ray DVD release is not film preservation, it's film perversion. It is just shameful. And so, between the messed up menu that disrespects Bob Miner, the featurette written by ChatGPT and performed by an AI actor, the overexposure throughout the film, and the shameful use of AI tools which ruin some of the scenes, this release is a huge disappointment. And in fact, it has turned me off of supporting this company at all. They clearly aren't interested in supporting artists, they clearly don't care about these movies, and we should not care about them. I bought these first two releases at the same time. They will be the last things I buy from these companies.